That was really weird. Did it
Weird.
count down?
Yeah.
Okay. We, like I said, just are trying something new. And so it's honestly, so we usually use StreamYards. I liked it, but it was like $45 a month if you wanted the fancy features. This is 16 for the same thing.
Nice.
Yeah, but like everything's in different spots, so it's kind
Yeah,
of
you gotta like
irritating.
figure out the UI. Are you gonna do the Blaze pre-sale, the stream thing with them?
I applied for it. I didn't get in. So, but I'll probably still do all the Blaze things. I joined the
Wait,
Discord. I have
you
friends
didn't
that are
get in,
involved.
or you didn't get in yet?
Maybe yet.
Let's we're gonna have to message crypto guy and make sure.
Yeah.
I'll make sure.
Oh.
He's a good friend. He's a good friend. We've had a lot of love from Salvor, so and especially because of the great content you're doing consistently. He's absolutely who you. Oops, I want to knock over my pieces back here. Yeah, he's absolutely one of the people that he wants to have on there, like the type of content that they want to have streaming. So,
Ah, you're the best.
well, no, you're the best. That's why
Okay.
you're on there.
Before we get started, I just have to tell everybody here. So, anybody who doesn't know, Nerd was like one of my first like real friends in Web3. He was the person like back in the day in Chicken, everybody would hang out in the VC in there. I mean, that was the most poppin' VC even today, even during gaming events and guilds. The Chicken one would get so full there would be 3 full ones. Like that's 300 people. It's crazy. And somehow we'd always get the same VC. We would talk a lot, Clint. There's a lot of people like that are just on their own journey now, like Ballin and Ruggy and like a bunch of different people, right? And I just remember, oh no, your screen went
Hold
ghostly.
on.
He's coming back.
Why did my husband bring me a popsicle during this? But hopefully he can still hear me.
It was in the back of his mind. You told him the name?
Did you see how it glitched when I said Ruggy? He did have that Project Glitch Kids. I love Ruggy though. There you are.
It's working. I think it's because I had
Yay!
like a USB extender on my microphone here, so I could show. I have like my interview tomorrow, like a big one, and they may want to see my paint studio, so I can show my whole painting area over there. Did I tell you about this job?
Yes, you did, and I'm really excited for you. Like, I'm not sure if that's something you want to share, or if you're like, I want to like wait until tomorrow and share, but I'll leave that to you.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I feel very confident. So I mean, yeah. Long story short, it's for Universal Studios. It's being a theme park artist. I've done a lot of the animatronics that are in their parks. So really excited to be able to like go and take care of them. Because I did like the master sculpts, and now they're like actually molded and in the parks. And so it'd be kind of cool. Like I built them from scratch. They were my babies. So it'd be kind of cool to like go and be able to take care of them now. And then the job is just amazing. So they got all these new parks over there. I know you're like a monster movie fan. They have a whole area called Darkmoor. That's all like the classic Universal monsters and stuff. So.
Oh, wow.
I've been to Universal Studios before. I like the ET ride, and at the time they had the Mummy Returns.
Oh yeah.
Best exhibit or whatever I've ever been to. What's up? No face, no case. Hi. Okay, I don't want to offend your mother. Habibo, Adam. Hi. But we are here with 1/3 Nerd today, and Luana can too. And we are talking SpicyDevStudios. So this is actually new to me. I think that my side of the timeline, it's just been really bad lately. Like all I'm seeing is like Elon, everything Elon's doing with crypto. maybe some AVAX things, and then ads. Like I'm seeing a lot of ads lately, which is just weird for me. I kind
I
of
know.
miss like the Web3 gaming side of things. So
At least it's better
why?
than seeing like somebody get murdered on your timeline, which I've had happen. I'm like I like waking up, like just got my coffee, and it's like watch this, and like flat, and some guy gets splat. I'm like,
No, yeah, I've had days where
okay,
and then just mattress actresses. Like I don't want to see that either. So, I
I've never heard that
like
before.
what?
Mattress actress.
That's a safe way to say it, you know? Like
That's
I
cute.
had a lot of fights, like actually like fights, like street fights. I don't know
Yeah,
oh,
why.
you're like
Like
what?
yeah.
why?
Like
Wha-
what about my timeline? What about my content makes you think I want to see brawls all the time? I mean, maybe it's because I'm on AVAX and it's just nothing but drama some days, but
Oh my god.
I know, but I don't know. That was like it's like serious. It was serious. But
no, for real, and
I
it's like
you can
violent.
mute it. You can mute it. You can mute anything that I've been muting a lot lately.
I
That's
have been
probably
muting a lot lately as well.
I just know that like if I ever get like my timeline gets too dark, I can either just post stuff for booty, like booty gifts or whatever like that for our token,
Token,
and
token.
it just fixes it. Or here's one: you just ask for workout tips or post some kind of like nutrition advice, and like all of a sudden it's nothing but like
Yeah.
health tips, workout tips, and nutrition. So
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. I,
I've
I'm I'm talking a lot about AI, and I swear now I have like bunch of like AI things coming up, but also a lot of AI ads, which I don't want to see.
yeah,
I've been getting a lot of AI ads everywhere lately. Not just Twitter, like Facebook, Instagram. If I'm on TikTok, they pop up. I have been looking into the Meta glasses though, so that's probably why.
my
But
friend Nofu loves his Ray-Ban Metas. He loves them.
they look amazing. Yeah, I've heard people love them, and I'm just like, I can't tell you how many situations I've been in where I'm like, I wish that I could have just recorded what you had just said to me because what? And then also, I'm going to AVAC Summit. I want to not be the nerd like on my phone. I want to enjoy it. I want to be like, wow, this is great. Let me take a picture or,
Yeah, no,
whatever. And
you get much better content. I think people like, especially when you're doing like the walking in type things, like you're walking into an event, like you're sitting there with your phone, and everyone's kind of like, I don't want, it's just weird, It's like, but yeah, if you just come in with a pair of glasses on, yeah, people are a lot more natural. You get a little bit better content, and you're
yeah.
more likely to capture good content that way because it's always on your face. So I mean that I know Nofu, the sound on him works really well. It captures interviews really good, so he
Oh,
can
yeah.
talking to
It
people,
The
doing it.
only problem is that it only lasts 4 hours.
Yes.
See, that's the other thing.
I
But
have them. I bought them. I bought them, and I took them to AVAC Summit in Argentina, and I had him on, and I never took a picture. Yes, okay. I forgot because I was not used to it, so I was with my phone and the glasses.
why is that? That's gonna happen to me. I 1000% see it. Hold on. I'm so
And
sorry.
then,
My husband brought me a popsicle as I'm like streaming, so I'm
Of course.
sorry.
What do you guys mind if I smoke a joint here? I mean, I gotta
I
get.
mean, you're more than welcome.
We're talking about you today, so you
Every
do.
grief for smoking joints on spaces, and I'm like, it's how I like to converse. Okay, it's I think too much when I'm not smoking. So it's like sometimes you just want to be able to relax and chit chat. And I
Do
think that's
it.
a lot of what we want to do because a lot of what we're building with Spicy is about community. I mean, you mentioned it, the old stuff from the chicken NFT days. And that's what we're trying to, not just get back to, but like really empower, like
Yeah.
in terms of like growing that community, giving it the ability to market itself, to host tournaments, to fund development. I think one of the most exciting things about the whole Spicy project, and we can talk about it, is what we're calling the Play Vault, which is essentially 35% of the treasury from the mint gets locked up, and it's separate from the dev team. It's actually the community's fund, not the developers fund. And so the community has the ability to vote on everything from, like I said, like development, even funding other studios to do work, or they can, host events, do marketing. Like, there's been a million times where we've said, hey, if we just put together, like I did Cockfest in Troy, New York for about $5,000.
Oh,
And so we were able
wow.
to have an amazing event, pop-up event, a lot of fun, a lot of people come out here. And it didn't really cost that much money,
Hmm.
you know, consider about $5,000 give or take. So like I said, those kind of things, having tournaments, having all of this stuff to kind of incentivize and allow the community to grow, is kind of a big part. That's what I'm really passionate about. Like I got brought on to Spicy to help them bring the whole mint to market. But after we mint, I don't work for the team anymore. I'm fully a community member. And so then my focus will be really helping the Play Vault get established and have that sort of treasury available for the community to do stuff for.
No, I love that. That's something that we kind of talk about a lot. Like, you don't
Yeah.
see projects really either one do that, period, or anymore.
No, you're right. Well, and I think one of the things, so like we grew up in the chicken community together, like you mentioned that Chris as well, and
Oh,
we
I love
love chicken.
Chris.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite people. He's the biggest goofball ever. He sends me the funniest videos. By the way, he sent me a video. I'll show you later. He's got like a hair dryer. He's blowing it into his mouth this morning. His cheeks are blowing out. I'm just like, you fucking silly goofball. But that's the kind of founder I want. But that's just it. Is that we talk about where things maybe, I don't want to say went wrong with chicken, but where they didn't go as well as they could have. And I think one of the big issues that happened was that we gave the team so much money and they really had no like imperative to actually deliver at any given point in time. And so I think that it's kind of nice that like we have team funds, we have money to develop multiplayer for Playcock, the game we're going to play here in a bit, and to develop the alpha beta for Spicy Renegades, which is going to be a really fun platformer game. But that's it. If they want more money, they have to prove that they've earned it. They have to show that they're shipping, that they're putting stuff out, that the community needs to see a value in it in order for the community to vote to give them more funds if that's what they need. And I'm really proud of that. I think that
Mhm.
keeps everybody honest. And I think that is what can lead to long-term project stability. Like
Yeah.
I looked at like a project like Avagachi, which has been around now for almost 5 years, and they're
Yeah.
still developing, still shipping, still doing great stuff
Yeah.
because of the way that they kind of manage their treasury. And they had a DAO. I didn't want to do a DAO. So we kind of came up with this whole Play Vault thing as kind of our answer to the DAO, as having DAO functions, but kind of still being a little bit on rails.
Yeah.
Uh, so really excited about it. Like I said, I think it's one of the things that really sets Spicy apart. You have a great game studio, great track record. They can do everything. But this treasury and the ability to continually fund development down the road and to manage a treasury, I think is what's going to really empower the community to not just be involved, but also to kind of create their own stuff. Like you mentioned, Seabach, who built Rooster Run, and there's
That was
Steve
a good one.
Nakamoto. Yeah, Steve Nakamoto, Cockfighter, which is
Yeah.
like an endless runner too. Um, and yeah, these are the kind of people that like I want to be able to say like, yeah, if you guys want to build something and propose something, we can fund it. I think a lot of people they can build a proof of concept and say, yeah, if you give me 10, 15 grand so I could put 2 months into this, we can have a finished polished product. And so that's what the Play Vault will be able to do. I'm really excited about that, sort of independence. I like to say, the developers are part of the Play Vault, but the Play Vault is not part of the developers. It's separate. It's its own community.
That's kind of cool. Like, it's not a concept you really see. And I know you mentioned Avagachi. We actually got to meet them in Miami, and they're phenomenal. Like,
People,
the
yeah.
game is pretty well built. Well, mine didn't work.
Which
We're
one
gonna
was
go into hotel Wi-Fi. That was the only.
it?
But they were great. They donated to us, and they were always very communicative. I don't know what I'm saying, but like you don't see that everywhere. You don't have people very involved, especially in the community after some things have been shipped. You know, you've got
Mhm.
people there that are super there for you until it happens, and then it's just kind of like a trail falls off, and that's like almost like this symbolic relationship between teams and community anyways, especially in this space. I feel like, you know, if you really want a good community, you have to like see some of those people and faces, but having the funds to as a community decide what your next step is, like that's kind of a different approach. And I don't know, are you guys gamifying
Yeah,
that or
absolutely. So, excuse me. So we're going to have two different kinds of votes. There'll be treasury votes and there'll be community votes. We're not really sure what to call that one. And so one of the things we want to be able to do is we're building the Spicy Renegades game, and it has all this incredible lore. They've made, I mean, these guys have been working on this for months now. So what you're going to see tomorrow is the PFPs, but those are actually the PFPs for player one, the male character. And so we have already developed an entire player two female character with all, girly traits. And I've actually been calling that one the sweet collection because we got spicy. I want to do the sweet.
that's
But
cute.
like how we roll that out, how that's done, there'll be several parts to it. So to give you an example, so like the community votes might be things like which trait do we want to have, or pick, which legendary trait we have, or this is the main character. What do we want to call her, or so we get to have these kind of votes that aren't active in the treasury, but they are helping develop the IP.
Yeah.
And we will gamify that, and that we'll be able to give a couple different ways. For one, there'll be special rewards for community members that are active, whether that be like tracking experience or having in-game rewards for people who regularly participate in those community votes. To one of the things that I like is a multiplier, which says that like if you participate in 3 community votes, for example, maybe your vote is tripled for a community vote. You kind of have a weighted vote
Ooh,
in
that's
that regard.
nice. Yeah.
So that way the people that are consistently being, showing up and being part of our Discord community, they have more weight than somebody who maybe just has a lot of money and shows up when we're voting on something for the treasury or from the treasury. And so then a good example of that moving to a treasury vote would be saying, well, how do we want to actually do this mint? So we would, there's things that'll be, what do you call it, proposed by the studio, which may say, okay, the studio proposes we do this mint, and we can do it as a free mint for holders, or we can do it as a 2 AVAX mint for holders and a 4 AVAX mint for non-holders, and 50% of that money goes to the treasury, 50% of that money goes to development of this next thing. And we can even, kind of get a little bit granular with it so we're able to say, how does the community best want to roll this out? Some people may say, well, I only bought one NFT and I don't want to buy any more NFTs. And that might be what they're pushing for. And I personally love that. I like the idea of having like a master NFT. I don't like, when the devs come back to you over and over again saying, hey, we need more money. Can we do another mint? But on the other side of it, if the community realizes that, hey, we have this treasury and we're putting it to work, they may say, okay, well, actually, we want to add more money to that treasury. If we do a free mint for holders, they're OG whitelisted, but it's 2 AVAX for non, and then X amount of that goes to our treasury. People might love that idea, And I think that this is, again, you're never going to have everybody be happy. But I think that
Right.
if you give people the opportunity to, put out their ideas or to vote on their ideas or to talk about things, because the truth of it is, Van Ho, is that like, honestly, the best ideas we haven't even proposed or thought of yet. Like the best
Right.
ideas will come from our community. The best ideas will come from people that will say, hey, I was playing this game, and is there any way we can like throw like a grappling hook in? It would be awesome for movement. And we're like, yeah, we can do that. Let's do it,
Yeah.
And so that's what's really great. Like, I don't like using this term of like, oh, you have an indie dev studio when you mint a
Mm.
spicy NFT, because that's kind of getting into securities laws.
Yeah.
But you kind of do in a way. Like you're in the boat with the game devs, and if they if you have good ideas and you want to suggest stuff and you want to be active, it is extremely likely that that will in some way or form make it into a finished game that you'll be able to play. One of my favorite things that Chicken did do was with the Rooster Mint, they incorporated a lot of community members into the traits, right? So like I used to have a
Yes.
chicken and a rooster. My rooster was named Rude Boy Rudy, and there was a Rude Boy Rudy trait in the Rooster collection. And other people, Little Rag, there's all kinds of little, shout outs. And I loved that. And I think that we're going to really try to do a lot of that with Spicy. We want the product that comes out to feel like it came from everybody. Like the devs
Yeah.
are the guys that are like, doing the lifting, they're doing the drawing, they're creating the stuff, but like the community creates the culture that colors the lore. As
Yeah.
I can kind of describe it. So
No, I think that's very straightforward. Yeah.
and I think that you get a sense of pride and ownership, like
Mhm.
again, like a lot of what we did with this is say, okay, we've all been NFT community members and supporters for many years now. What would be we ideal? Like what can we take from this and that and say, how do we make this the epitome of everything that we like and try to drop the things that we don't? And you mentioned some of the great stuff. Like I said, having those big VCs, having those fun days where we're just chatting and having a good time. I think that that's a big part of how you build a community. And I'm not so naive to saying that you don't need to give people rewards because whatever. Like it's great that people
Yeah.
come in there and they spend their time, but if you give them just a little bit of rewards, you're going to get a better engagement and a better involvement. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we've got all of these great plans for that. I mean, one thing that I'll say that these guys have done, they kind of have seasons planned. So they sort of have like a season one, and then a break, and then a season two, and then we can kind of decide where we want to go from there, and that will give them. By the time that's done, we will have the Playcock game with multiplayer and Web3. We'll have the Spicy Renegades game out in like some kind of alpha or beta. And we're talking like it's almost a year down the road. And that's without touching the Play Vault funds at all. Like
Yeah.
that's literally only with the money that's separate from the Play Vault. So all of those Play Vault funds are still up for game in terms of doing fun stuff. And I think that one of the things that's really great is this time the market's not too great right now. I mean, AVAX is $20. I personally think that by the time we really start wanting to use our play vault, AVAX will be in a much greater position. And a lot of that play vault will be AVAX locked up. So
Yeah.
it's the kind of thing where we can kind of look at it and be like, oh, we got more money than we started with. How do we want to spend it now? So
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Oh shoot. You just told me something and I was like, "Oh, I want to highlight on that." And I forgot, but
I've been rambling for a
oh,
while,
I
so
I
know.
want to highlight the fact of like creating a more stable alignment between the game or the final product with your actual community,
Yeah.
integrating community members as part of the product, which is funny because me working as a CMO with like different games, a lot of games will be like, we just want to market the user and have more users. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I mean, you're in Web3. The final product is much easier to get connected if you emotionally connect with it.
Mhm.
And I feel like a lot of projects don't know how to master that ability in terms of how to align with the community itself and highlight those
Yes.
members that are truly there because they believe in your product. So I want to highlight that from you guys of really bringing that natural alignment to your community members. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Like
well,
community ran games, right? Community funded games. That's one of those things that's like there's a few projects that have done this and completely succeeded. You know what I mean? Like it's not like they didn't succeed because of the community. It's like they didn't care for the community. They sought funding elsewhere. They never had the community involved, and then lost faith in the community after so much time. Like obviously, like you can't tell everybody every single step that's going to happen before it happens, but absolutely no communication, no transparency. you never see anybody from teens communicating with and asking questions about like what would you like to what would you like to see or like what would you like to do. Um, girl, you backed out of here for somehow.
I don't know what happened. It said connection lost, and I was like, "What am I?" I'm I'm
Adios.
I
I'm
was
like sending a message to my parents. They're outside screaming like a dog. I'm like, "Why are you screaming, bro?" Okay,
We can't hear him, I promise.
I'm so sorry.
I love this. Okay, so we're at the half mark. So while we're asking questions, I kind of wanted to kind of play the game.
yeah, play.
Now, how long has this been out? Because like I think I've been in a deep dark hole or something. I
I know.
Yeah, well,
don't.
so let me tell you a fun little thing about Chris. So, and this is why I love him. He's a firm believer in the whole focus on the change you want to see, and so um, he doesn't say that he made the game out of frustration and waiting for chicken to deliver on Cockfight, but I know for a fact it was a huge factor. He had kind of been like, man, like, what's taking so long? I could have made a game by now. And I'm like, no, you could. No, you not. You don't make games. He's like, no, we definitely could have done it. I've got a whole studio. We could do it. We could do a game. And so these guys, you know, they are a Web2 marketing firm, and they decided to make a game, and they did. And it's amazing. Yeah, you'll see. You see the boxes there.
Oh my god! Wait.
Oh, you're gonna get.
Oh
Oh,
my
oh, I'm very
god.
good at it. Oh my god, I can fly actually. Oh wow.
Oh wait, what happened? Oh, I hit shift. Oh, this ain't that kind of FPS, guys. No shifts. Nope. Yeah, don't hit. Don't do it.
Can I understand why am I bleeding from the butt? Ah.
You need a med kit. Okay, okay. So how long has this been out? You said this was
So yeah, it's been
also
out for like probably I'd say 6 months, 7, 8 months, maybe.
no shot.
Probably even a little longer. Yeah, but they've been working on it. So there's now 30 levels in the game, and it gets pretty crazy. Like it gets very insane. I actually haven't even played it that much, but one of the great things that we're planning on doing. Part of what Chris contacted me about initially when we were talking about doing this was funding the next stage of development for this game, which is adding NFT connectivity. You can, yeah, this is
I
great.
got a bazooka.
I think you can jump and it like shoot you in the air.
It said mission complete. I had how much points did you made, Banjo?
12, 40, 14. Okay, wow.
Yeah,
14,040. Ooh.
18,600.
Ooh, she killing it.
I got
you got
Why did I not
43
know? And
more boxes to go. So that was
in the midnight, is this
Yeah.
midnight? No, it's not midnight. This is like the cosmic skin.
Oh God, that's the Celestial.
Oh, a celestial.
Oh my
Oh,
god, it's
geez.
been so long since I've been.
So yeah, so look at you, 21,000 already, 22,000, killing it.
Dude, this is actually fun.
No,
Not that I doubted it. I just mean like.
no. You should doubt it because that's actually a big part of it. Is that all of these game developers have like failed to deliver on even a fun game. Oh, did you get the first? Yeah, you got the first mission. 26,000.
Oh, oh. That's
Oh,
crazy.
I need some
Should be able to go to the next
support.
level. Yeah.
Okay, and so was this created during the hackathon, or was this something that you guys had been planning and thinking about like long before? Was it completely separate? I mean, I know a lot of people don't even know what that is, but
Yeah, no. So Chris did this all on his own. No hackathon, no funding, no money from anybody. They
Wow.
paid for this himself as a labor of love. And yeah, so
Pretty interesting.
Yeah, so that was like again, like part of why I wanted to work with him. Chris is a friend, but that doesn't mean I'm willing to work with them, especially when it comes to like gaming NFTs.
yeah,
I've been burned on so many gaming NFTs by people who great intention. What do they say?
Yeah.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Always.
So the thing is that if you can't actually build a fun game, all of your promises to be able to do it with money mean nothing, you know?
Right.
And I think that like Chris, really, set a great precedent by putting this game out there first, and then looking to fund it to grow it into the next level, right? So
That's like something you don't see in Web3 like
at
at
all.
all anymore. Like or yeah, and the ones that do that, they do phenomenal. Like I don't know. I'm not saying like that's exactly 1000. I mean, I've seen other games do different ways, but I've seen more success from people going this route than the other one, you know?
Yeah, no, and I personally feel this way about everything. I mean, when it comes to anything, you should put out your effort first, and then look to get a reward and move it to the next phase. I think that's the way to get ahead in life in general. And one of the great things, so anyway, with this next round of funding, what they're going to be able to do is have multiplayer in here with up to I think 30 birds. And
What?
yeah, it gets crazier. And you'll be able to hopefully, well, I say hopefully, and Chris is like, no, don't say hopefully, because we're going to do this. And
Listen,
I'm
yes, I
always
love
so
that.
nervous. I'm like, oh God. But because I don't know if we'll be able to stay on Steam if they have full NFT connectivity. But the goal is to have you be able to connect with your chicken or rooster and see them in game.
So, if you wanna get around the Steam thing, you would have to connect it through your website and find a way to connect it through the game.
Well, with the
So
latest news we just got today, or on the 3rd, actually, so 2 days ago from Apple, with Apple now
oh,
uh, NFT connectivity. So because this game is also on mobile as well.
no shot.
Yep. So yeah, it's all coming together. We'll be able to have
Yeah.
full Web3 connectivity. We'll be able to connect. You'll be able to use your chicken or rooster if you have one. Play multiplayer, and so that kind of previews a little bit of what I wanted to talk about also, because a big thing about Spicy, and this is just me and the way that I am, is about collaborating. And so this with me, like I was the one who put Mad Skulls and Chicken together.
And Love Monster.
Yeah.
Love Monster, yeah, of course, didn't really pan out, but
No, we don't need to go there. But yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
tried. I did my part. Right? And so anyway, we're working with a lot of great teams. So obviously, Chicken is good friends, and I've been talking and working with Hen Solo and KFC and Cluck Norris to get those assets that have been developed for Chicken out into the community. So not just for Spicy, but also for the other developers out there, so that they can use all these amazing Chicken assets and maybe make their own games or do their own stuff. And we're also working with Kuroshi. We've got huge plans with them. They've been
Oh.
phenomenal. PyWeb's a really good friend. Wichita's an awesome dude, and we've
Oh.
been working with them for a while now, like since they're probably one of the first people we talked to. So we have big plans for both their game. So we'll be able to put our stuff into their game, which is going to be on PS5, Xbox, all that.
Whoa.
Their stuff into our game, which is also so. It's just really amazing, like the idea of collaboration between all these different projects, and so yeah, it's exciting to think that we'll be able to bring these assets into each other's games and work with each other. Like I'm excited to really build more and more. And one thing where this is really exciting, and you were just talking about AI, is how easy it is now, or easier, I'll say, to actually make some kind of game using AI.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
great tools out there. So what we foresee is this becoming much easier in 6 months, a year, year and a half, 2 years, whatever it is. I mean, think about it. It's been almost 4 years since Chicken's original mint. So
Yeah.
even 2 years down the road is half the time we've been since Chicken. So it's not that far, but imagine where this AI game development will be 2 years from now. And so
Yeah.
we think that this is going to be a renaissance for indie developers, not just like Spicy Dev Studio, but a whole new breed of indie developers, which is just people who have great ideas and are pretty good at prompting, and being able to then take something to maybe call it 70%, right?
Yeah.
65%, and then say, hey, if I can get 10, 15 grand, we can polish this baby and ship it. And
Yeah.
lo and behold, we have a we have a treasury for that.
Dude,
So yeah, I really want to see a whole metaverse arcade, a whole series of games, and
yeah.
we can have our own L1, but I think we're probably going to wind up, I don't know, maybe we'll work with other people's L1s. We're not really fully decided on that. That's another one of those great community discussions, if you will.
Yeah.
But the way that Avalanche is built with these, parallel L1s, it's perfect for this collaborative attitude that we have, and it makes it seamless for us to be able to bring assets, from our L1 or another L1 to Kuroshi's, to Konami's, to who knows where's,
Yeah.
And yeah, we're always going to be seeking partners, both big and small, to do that with. And Avalanche is just the perfect place, So
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I'm so excited about Playvault. Like I said, I don't work for the company, but I'm going to work for Playvault, and Playvault's a community thing. I'm happy with that. I'm
Yeah.
excited to be able to put my energy into something like that where we all.
Yeah, exactly. No, this is phenomenal. And you said one person built this, right? Like a one dev team.
No, I don't believe it is a single dev.
Oh, okay. I was like, I'm shooketh right now. This is
This
But
is really
amazing.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
it was a
telling you,
labor
I'm
of love.
surprised.
Yeah. There was a
I'm
labor of love of people who were doing this part time. Like these guys have a full time job doing other stuff. They didn't
Oh,
get paid for this, and they built this on their own.
I love this so much.
I'm surprised that we have not had this game actually on IRL events. Have you
I
guys?
know. How you
This
said
will
this
have
is
been so funny, like to actually have it just
at
people playing at
GDC or anything
GDC.
like that. Yeah, this would have been really fun.
Well,
You know?
it just
But
comes down to money, yeah. So that's why it's exciting to be able to have that again, that fun to be able to say, hey, we're going to throw a pop up event, get a couple arcade machines.
oh yeah, could you imagine
Yeah.
this on an arcade machine?
I mean, you can make it happen. I did it for Kokodi during I think this was on Tokyo. We just put a TV on it, but it had like the whole look of it,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like
Ooh.
yeah, and it had the look as an arcade, but it was the game was inside. Yeah, it was
I
not an
did
actual arcade.
well,
Yeah,
yeah, but still cool.
Mm,
I'm really excited to have it like with multiplayer, and like even if it's just like we have like four people at multiplayer at once.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, once you do that, we should do game nights. Like this
Yes,
will
game
be
nights. Could
hilarious.
you imagine? Are the chickens gonna be able to shoot each other? Because that's I would
That's
crack up. Like,
That
just in a battle royale, killing people and just cracking up about it, just
that is
cracking
exactly
up.
what we're looking to do.
Could
and,
you
and
imagine?
be able to really, because the truth of it is that I love the chicken verse, as I call it.
Yeah.
I imagine something so much bigger for that IP, and I think that you know we're able to work with the chicken team and help them accomplish those goals. So again, like part of what I love about the way that this is structured is there's plenty on the plate of Spicy to work on, to get the Renegades game out there, to add multiplayer, to add a lot of stuff to this, and I think it's really great for all of these communities, right? It's good for
Yeah.
AVAX, it's good for gaming on AVAX, it's good for Kakinu, it's good for chicken, of course it's
Yeah.
good for Spicy. And we want to put more. We want to be able to found them. I've been watching you for like everywhere. But I can't say much because I've only played through the game a little bit. I'm enjoying watching you though. It's great.
I've been playing so much FPS lately, like, off the grid. I'm not good at it, but I guess I'm doing pretty great because,
Since
uh
it's been so much easier. I don't like. I can actually win gunfights now. I used to just get murked in every fight, and I would have been like, I should have won that. But now it's like I lose, and I'm like, you were a better player.
Did you say Cynthia? She DM'd me today, and honestly, it just made my whole life. I love her so much. She's one of my favorite AVAX people. I mean, I have so many. I can't really say that, but she messaged me today, and I just was like, you really don't realize, like, even if you don't talk to people every day, like, what kind of community you're involved in. Like, I just feel like Avalanche has been so supportive, mostly with people like that, like there's always some bad actors, but I don't know. It's just like the good ones really make it worth just being here.
You're absolutely right.
That's true.
I mean, Cynthia is one of my favorite people. You got to shoot the haystacks.
Oh, what?
I think you got to scatter them. You can use your grenade and like.
Oh, you can jump on them. Oh, how do you use the grenade?
Uh,
Oh, oh, you get more points, Luana. You got to right click.
there you go.
Oh, okay. So 30 people in a lobby, that's diabolical. I'm sorry, but there's like hardly any places in the space that have more than like a certain amount of people who are able to play together at once. So 30 in a FPS style game, like there's a
I
lot of people
know.
that would go crazy for this.
I know.
Like,
I think he's a madman. It's so funny because like I said I don't actually work for them as a developer. I'm their guy to help them bring it to market and partnership.
right.
So I'm always so cautious because I never want to be like, yeah, and they're gonna do this, and then have it be like Chris saying, dude, no, that's not what I said.
He's
But
tired. Yeah.
I'm always like trying to like tone it down, be like, oh, and no, he really wants to have 30 players online at once, going crazy, all the weapons. He wants to add more, chickeny type stuff. Like I said, I really like one of the great things that Chicken has is all of these 3D assets that were developed by Resetti and never used.
Oh,
you almost got it at the end there.
man.
But
no, I'm having a blast right now.
oh, no, I'm watching you. I'm enjoying this.
It's so fun. Okay. Sorry, I know we're so ADHD.
Yeah, I know you and me are.
Are so bad. Luana is too.
I'm sure.
I'm 100%. The funny part is that I'm like focusing the chicken right now.
He's so cute. You got like the cutest little chicken butt.
I know.
Okay, but you did say are the spicy NFTs tomorrow that are going to be minted on Magic Eden. I'm so excited for you guys. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
That's really exciting. Are you guys creating like a whole other game, or will those be implemented into this game?
So, how about a little bit of both?
Ooh.
So Spicy Renegades is going to be a new game. It's going to be a platformer, multiplayer shooter. They've already been working on it. They've got a lot of stuff laid out. They learned a lot from making this game, obviously. So, plans that they're developing. This one's going to be a different art style. It's going to be 2D cell shaded, using the amazing art that both Morrow and Mededge. I'm terrible with names, so especially
same.
Yeah. I've gotten those guys confused before and gotten in trouble for it. So, but we have some great artists, great developers, with Spicy. So anyway, the new game is going to be a whole new game, and they have developed some incredible lore. I mean, I don't want to give away too much, but like vehicles and pets, like I said, the player too, and there's so much in this universe, like the spicy chilies and the peppers, like what they do, and like all of the stuff that is just in that lore, that universe that they've created. And again, like I think that what's really exciting is blending all of this together, being able to maybe have spicy stuff that happens in the Playcock game, have chicken stuff that happens in the spicy game, have Kuroshi stuff that's happening in the Playcock game, and that's what I think that people, I think that when these NFTs really go from being just JPEGs that you have the rights to digital assets that mean something to you, is when they can travel with you like that.
Yeah.
it's like taking something out of one place and putting it in another one gives you this new perspective on it, and all of a sudden becomes that much more tangible and that much more real. And so, I'm really passionate about that for NFTs and digital assets in general. And I think that we are kind of slowly but surely developing a sort of indie Web3 game developer network and community. It's happening. Like, you can kind of see like the roots are starting to sort of take shape, and it's becoming chain agnostic, and it's becoming
Yeah.
very collaborative based, and like I said, with the tools that AI is throwing in there as well, like I said, I really believe we're going to see a renaissance of indie game development
Yeah.
in 1 to 2 years, 3 years moving forward. So that's when one of the hardest things about developing a game is developing the visual assets for. I mean, now we have AI and stuff like that, but to build a world like Chicken, where you have all of the chickens and all the roosters and all of the worm and all of that sort of
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
IP, that's very difficult even with AI. And I think that being able to take that as a sort of your building blocks and then bring that into AI and just use your good ideas and your thoughts to say, here's the rules of the game, here's the way it looks.
Yeah.
You know,
Have you heard of Farcade?
that sounds
Uh,
familiar.
they they're kind of doing something I think similar. Like they're maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong place, but an AI game dev studio where they have people create games, and I guess it's already on the like they're
Oh yeah,
testing it right now, and I have a friend that has been building a game with their 10-year-old, and it I would play it. So like, can you imagine just being like 12 years old and getting your hands 10 however, old, and getting to create a game that you've always wanted to play. Like, it's crazy to think that that is the world that we are now kind of like submerging into with AI and gaming, and just where we are, like Web3 blockchain wise. Like, that's just not like, that's not something like 4, 5, 6 years ago that I even thought was unimaginable, you know?
it's insane and how fast it's happening too. And that's where I think that, like, having these universes that sort of interlock become really an invaluable thing, because you know you're not limited anymore, and you're certainly not in the near term, by being able to create something that you've always wanted to see before.
Yeah.
Like I said, we can
Yeah.
probably get pretty close to there. And then there maybe needs to be some fine tuning and polish, especially when you get into
Yeah.
Web3 games. Web3
Oh,
games are very complex in terms of, like, smart contracts and all that stuff. But even
yeah.
that is getting easier and easier to do with AI. So having these interlocking universes where Chicken and Spicy and Karoshi and hopefully many others have that ability to kind of cross into each other's world, like the AVAX L1 structure, being able to quickly drag and drop assets from one to the next.
Yeah.
It's incredible to think. And I'll give you one more that's also really cool, is we didn't even talk about it yet, is that they're also developing an entire manga and a comic for the
Oh,
whole
wow.
Ooh.
yeah. But what's amazing is that taking that manga, the comic, and then going to the next step and making something animated is becoming that much easier to do as well
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So we have this entire realm of visual arts with all of the spicy assets that is open for exploration. And I think that I think we're going to see some really amazing stuff there, both out of the studio and also out of the community, as people start to kind of sink their teeth into the lore and kind of come up with their own sort of sub factions and sub stories and stuff. You know, I remember the excitement with early Chicken days and how people were starting to do that.
Yes.
And it's just amazing to now be able to foster that, like, really,
Yeah.
not gatekeep and not say, hey, this is the way the brand is going. It's like, no, man,
Yeah.
you minted that NFT, you have a story for them, go make your story, man. Like, I want to see you take that thing and create its own world. And who knows, maybe you'll
Create a
build
game.
spin off that's it's just incredible. So, I've been a part of so many communities that were monetized by the developers.
Yeah.
Now we're able to sort of monetize the developers for the community. It's kind of the shoe on the other foot, And I think it's kind of cool that the community can say, yeah,
Oh fuck.
oh, you almost had it too.
I know. I was killing it.
Oh.
Well, yeah, no, so you're really speaking to me right now because like it has been like it's been a long time since that's I can't tell you the last time like we've merged as a community. Oop, my bad. As a community somewhere. Like I feel like the partnerships back in the old days are a lot different than they are now. I mean, I can't tell you the last time I just was like, "Oh, just an example, I guess. AVAX partnered with so and so. Let me jump into their Discord." Like, it's been a while since like communities have come together as communities in a sense. Like I'm excited to see like you said, like Karoshi and Chicken and a few others as well, just kind of getting to merge into one spicy, like all of these things. Like it's so 21, web3, and I miss those elements and like figuring out how to like incorporate that into today's ever growing web3 atmosphere. I mean, it's something you don't see too often. But, we're coming up 4 minutes. You've got a big interview tomorrow. You're going to need your sleep for that. Before we go though, I did want to talk more about the mint because it is tomorrow.
It is, yeah. Yeah, so
Congratulations too to the team
no,
and
and we're really excited to be able to partner with Magic Eden. And I just want to take
yeah,
a quick second and just say a big thank you to that team. They have been unbelievably incredible. You would think the biggest, actually, I think I just saw numbers today that they're bigger in terms of daily active users than OpenSea. They are the biggest NFT marketplace in the world. You would think that they wouldn't really show as much love and attention to an indie game company and a small mint, a first time mint, as they have with their full feature brands. I mean, they work with Yuga, they work with the big names out there, but they have been unbelievably attentive and helpful. I've been a part of maybe 4 or 5 different mints, either my own or working with other people, and I've
right.
dealt with a wide variety of launch pads. And I've never ever worked with a launch pad that has been as attentive and as helpful as Magic Eden has. So I just really want to give them a shout out because that has been unbelievable. And if you're thinking as a team that like you maybe don't want to go to Magic Eden because you might get kind of pushed aside, I wouldn't go in there with that mentality because they may surprise you. Like I said, they've really been just unbelievable. And so, yeah, we are minting tomorrow at 5:55 p.m. UTC, which if you're on the East Coast, I think that's like 3 hours difference. So it's like 2 p.m.
Oh, wow.
If you go to the Magic Eden Launchpad page, it'll show you, first of all, if you're whitelisted or not, phase 1 or phase 2. It'll also give you a timer countdown to when the mint goes live. So for the mint, the price is 5 AVAX. There aren't any discounts. Actually, the prices are the same whether you're whitelisted OG or not. It's like custom for Mad we did.
Aw, I love
I love
that. We
that. It
love
looks
Mad. We're gonna meet him
yeah.
in the UK. Sorry, okay, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. And so anyway, the mint will go live if you're phase 1, which is the OG whitelist. You can mint 2, and that's not over subbed. So even if, and it won't happen that every single person mints their max mint, everyone should still be good. That'll not happen. Even if half the people who got on the OG whitelist mint, I would doubt it. I mean, I just know how mints work. You know what I mean?
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So phase 1 will be 2 mints for everybody who's in phase 1. Phase 2 is 1 mint, and that one is oversubbed. We'll see how that goes. But then anything that's left over goes to public mint, and it's max mint as many as you want. Nice. They got the page going, looking
Yeah,
good.
this looks good.
Let's
He has been
go.
overtime. Let me just tell you, that page was not done this morning, and they've been overtime getting it going. They got the Discord server up. They got page looks great.
Dude, I
Page
can see
looks
so
amazing.
many OG like NFT elements in these already. Like
I love
just
that.
these 5 up here, I can
Dude,
see
I want
projects.
one.
That's crazy. I know, they look so cool. I'm gonna be first in line. You said 5 PM UTC, right? So, like, that's 12 PM for me here.
Five
So
fifty five. So
1 p.m. EST. 1 p.m. EST.
okay. Yeah.
yeah, but I think hold on, it's really 6 because it's 5:55. So it'd
Oh,
be closer to 2. Just
was
because
that on purpose?
no, well, yeah, initially, so it's 16 hours from right now. I can see on your screen for phase one.
Okay. My bad. I'm like, "Wait, what?" I see it now. Okay. So it was the 5:55. Does that have any meaning or what, like
So kind of
Wait,
initially
what
we
the
were
hell? 5:55 on 5/5. No, that's today. Never mind. My bad.
well, that was
Okay.
what we were supposed to do. Initially, okay, so I'm one of those that like I look for patterns, and if
Yeah.
I see a pattern, I kind of lean into it. And so we had settled on the five. Initially, they had planned to have a larger supply and a lower price, and then having tiers. And we decided to have a smaller supply with a higher price and an even. So basically still getting the same amount of money they were looking for, but just putting a premium on each NFT and not discounting them for OGs. But we decided on 5 AVAX, and then we weren't sure, like the whole Magic Eden thing. Like it was just like a job interview. Like you don't really know until you know. Like you have a
Yeah.
great meeting,
yeah.
went really well, and then you have another great meeting, and you're like, okay, that went really well, and they said everything's good, and they told us we're good, but
Oh, God.
don't have a contract yet. Like when are we gonna get? So until we knew and had signed paperwork that we were going with Magic Eden, we weren't even sure of when they were going to be announcing for AVAX because it was kind of funny. There's all these different compartments, and so certain ones we weren't privy to that information. So
Right.
you know even the fact that they were coming to AVAX was sort of an assumption on my part. Like I host a space every day with No Future and De-Engineer called The Hangout every morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. And we regularly have up Johnny Metaverse, who's formerly the EVM head at Magic Eden.
Yes.
Wow.
I remember him. Yeah.
And he's now over at Slingshot because Magic Eden acquired them. But he still pops on the show. He's a good friend.
Yeah.
And
I like
so
them. Yeah.
And so it was like, oh, okay, wait a minute. Like he was talking about AVAX for a while, and then he stopped talking about AVAX, and then like dropping little hints here and there. I'm like, these motherfuckers are coming to AVAX. And at the same time, Chris had asked me about helping him bring his product to market, and so it was like, okay, let's go ahead and see if I can set up a meeting with Johnny and assume correctly. And I did. And he was like, yeah. He's like, I may or may not know something about that. But let me call some people. Let me set something up, and I'll get you a meeting with who you'd want to talk to. And so that's how we kind of got in the door with Magic Eden as early as we did.
Oh wow. So
That's
you already
awesome.
knew about it before?
No, I didn't know. I sussed it out. I saw that things were moving, and I kind of was like, because where do you really see NFT marketplaces making a killing 3 years from now? Both of you.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna see in 3 years. Like, there was a period where NFTs weren't even cool for a while.
Yep.
Nobody talked about them, and now we're all of a sudden booming back in there. We're seeing a lot of NFTs lately.
I think it's just like normal part of like kind of going back to the genesis
Yeah.
and restructure the real infrastructure, like really finding that value that for a lot of people, I think like these last 2 years, especially with a bear that has been kind of very long,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing not retail coming out to our market, it has felt kind of like, okay, we have to realize what is going on. What is that we really have? How do we bring value for new retail to actually get in touch with our projects? And I think that that is why we're starting to see, NFTs really do work, especially if legislation moves forward in the right direction. We want NFTs to go into supply management. We want so many other things to actually restructure to real, world issues. That's exactly what will bring the real,
Yeah, I mean,
market to us.
when you really expand, like even like the concept of an NFT, it's amazing. I mean, the idea of
Mhm.
having them, all of your driver records and stuff like that, like the California DMV. I think,
Yes.
Yes.
Tickets.
namely, namely, what I was going after was gaming NFTs. I think, and we got to change. We can't call them NFTs anymore because gamers have been triggered for
Sorry.
that. But
Assets.
yeah, but there's Gunzilla did something very smart, right? I'm an old school gamer, right? And the
Yeah.
smartest thing that Gunzilla has done so far, in my opinion, isn't anything to do with Off the Grid. Nothing to do with Off the Grid's a masterpiece. It's a phenomenal game. Everything about it is perfect. But what they did that doesn't get talked about enough, and it's fine, is that they brought back Game Informer. And even bigger than that is they brought back the original editorial team of Matt Miller and his crew. And so I worked at GameStop back in this era. And those Game Informer issues that came out were the most amazing thing. And every gamer cherished them. And it was something that wasn't just for gamers. You felt like you were reading a developer's magazine. You felt like you were
Yeah.
reading something that was an industry mag that also had reviews in it as well. But
Yeah.
it gave you phenomenal insight into what was happening in the industry.
Yes.
And I think that there has been a very concerted effort. You could call it a conspiracy if you want, to demonize NFTs. I like to tell people it's like they got so good at convincing you that you didn't want to own your own digital assets that they thought to themselves, hey, maybe we can get away with saying you don't get to own your games anymore. And people freaked out at that. But
Oh,
how
I
can you
remember that
blame them?
era.
Yeah, you remember that? Yeah.
Yeah.
But how could you blame them? Because if you don't want to own your skins, you don't want to own the DLC that you can you can resell the game, but you can't resell the DLC. Why not? And so like I talk to gamers all the time about this, and it's like it's wild to me that you guys are programmed to not want to resell your DLC or to take your trophies to the market or sell whatever, like it's just wild to me. Like you
That's
expect,
mine. I earned it.
yeah.
I don't want to sell it. That's an
Mhm.
honor. It's a badge of
Well,
honor.
there's that too. Don't get me wrong, but like you know, I've seen you.
There
Sir,
you have the
attacked.
answer.
I saw the great content that you shot a while back, Vanho, when you were at I don't know if it was GDC or if it was I think it was what's the other one, big one, PAX, I think it was.
The gaming. Yes, that was so much fun.
But you were talking to people about this, and like it was crazy. Like,
Yes.
you could see like light bulb, light bulb, light bulb every time going on in their head, and they're like, yeah, why not? Why can't I resell this stuff? Why
Yeah.
can't I buy
Well,
this? You
so
know?
but I'm somebody who works in crypto gaming, right? Blockchain gaming, going to a very nobody knows what crypto is place. I mean, nobody there said, "Yes, I know what crypto was," except for one guy they did not video. They did not include in the video who knew what
Mhm.
Web3 or crypto was. And so, my first question, they had a bunch of questions for me, but I was like, they're not going to know what mainstreaming Web 2 into Web 3 is. I'm not going to ask those questions. And so I went in going back to education and teaching 5-year-olds. Like, I was like, okay, we've got to make this make sense to them. They all just came out of a Fortnite experience, like everybody here. So I'm like, my first question will be, what's your favorite game? You know? They'd tell me, and I could then formulate in my head how to explain crypto to them based off the game that they liked, which everybody said it was Fortnite, right?
They just walked out of the place, yeah.
I know everybody said Fortnite, and even though I walked around and stuff, it was still Fortnite, except for one
Mhm.
person said like Candy Crush, which there's a Web3 Candy Crush, so I was able to they were called the Candy Crush Bros or something like that. They I don't know, they had millions of subscribers. They just played Candy Crush. You know what? Uh, I I
Each
bet
their own.
I bet my mom watches them on you. I don't know. So I would just ask them, like, well, what do you think about this? Just imagine living in a world where you are able to take those assets. Fortnite, you can't sell anything. If you sell your account, you're banned. Like, you done bought an account, it's banned. Your account's banned. Everything on that IP address, it's banned. Like, They will not let you own anything. And so I was like, imagine just getting a skin that you unlocked in your battle pass and were able to sell, or, maybe you could buy that, skin for your character from like the first season, or whatever, and it made sense to them. And you could see them just being like, oh, I'd love that. Well, what if I told you that's already here? Is it really? Yeah, that's here. That's something here. And then I would tell them about like Off the Grid was coming out, right? So I'd be like, oh, there's Off the Grid, blah, 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 blah. I could put that in there. And that's when I really realized like we are using the stupidest made up terms in crypto just for us. Like how's anybody going to be like, wow, I really want to mainstream from what's Web 2? And we went to Vegas and had somebody who had no idea what crypto was. He was like, "What's Web 3 again?" The entire time
What
we
the
had to
fuck is
explain. So
that?
That was hardcore. Yeah.
it was so hard, but
The thing about Off the Grid is that, I mean, the game itself, like part of the reason why I think it's such a masterpiece is somebody could play that game and have no idea. They could go through the entire thing,
Yep.
marketplace, buy, sell, do all that stuff, and not have any idea that all those things happened sort of
literally,
IRL, if you will. There's at the end of the day, this stuff has been, around for forever. I mean, I think a large part of what grew Bitcoin in the first place was, markets like Mt. Gox, which is literally named after World of Warcraft thing. Like it World of Warcraft gold market drove a huge part of early crypto adoption, but
yeah.
it's like this weird sort of gray market, sort of like almost in a weird way. The other big thing was Silk Road. So just take that for what it is. It's a weird sort of perversion of the markets, if you will, but it was always there. And so it's just crazy. Like I said, I think that what's been amazing about Gunzilla freeing Game Informer, releasing it like a phoenix from the ashes again, and
Yeah.
putting Matt Miller and crew back in line there, is that you have, gamers are skeptical. In general, we've been burned on everything. And so, like everything, like I learned how to get rugged from being a gamer for my whole life. I've been rugged so many times before I ever got into Web3 from gaming. Like no more pre-sales. We shouted that from the rooftops, and then we did it anyway. And so I
Be
think
the
that the
change.
Game Informer thing is amazing because you're actually having a trusted source that will talk truth to power, explain and give people that opportunity to just try it for themselves. And I think that if anybody plays Off the Grid that's a fan of third person shooters or anything like that, extraction shooters, if they play it, that's a great game,
Yeah.
And so, Spicy fits into this whole category as well, too, and I think that's why Magic Eden was actually so excited to work for with us, because it's like you do have AAA developers that are unknown, that are pulling in big names like Off the Grid did with Gunzilla. You also have big names coming in like Konami is launching an
Maple
L1, Maple
Story.
Story, exactly. But then there's still that indie wild card. And the number one game this year, right, is Balastro, right? Balatro, which is an indie game. And
Yeah.
one of the first times that an indie game has won that coveted title from all of these bigger studios. And I think that Magic Eden is smart enough to realize that, like, yeah, if we set the right tone with these indie developers, we might open up a massive revenue stream. Because if any of these projects really hits, those are the IP that maybe get slept on for the first year, 2 years, that all of a sudden become so, sought after, down the road. When something's going to be collectible, the chance of it actually being valuable is much smaller. When
Yeah.
you have no idea that something, that's why we have all those things when we were a kid. You're like, damn it, I own so many of those Black Diamond Disneys. Fuck, why did I get rid of those? You didn't know. You didn't know
Right.
it would be the big thing. And so I think that with products and with companies like Spicy, there's this great golden opportunity. And
Yeah.
so, I hope we are that
I hope
new
so
product.
too.
I hope we are that new industry that gets created out of all of this.
I
Because,
hope so too.
thank you so much for all this, by the way, too. You guys,
Oh, you're welcome. I was just like, okay. First of all, I don't know why I haven't heard of this. This has been under a rock for me. I just think the algo is so stupid. You know, you see like 1% of what you actually
True.
want to see. Two, you know, we've came together over some things recently, and so just getting just back in touch with you and hearing what you've been working on for so long and that you're still here and you're still building, you're doing amazing. Like, it just was like, oh my god, okay, how can I help, what can I do, like, let me do what I can. And so this is what I know to do. So I was like, let's get the information out there, because if I don't know, who else doesn't know? So looking into your game, I was like, I what the hell? I want to play this live, first of all, because you kind of hear the name. It sounds a little wordy dirt, you know. You're like, I don't know what this is gonna be like. And then you open it up and you're like in another experience. Like
Mhm.
that was like the funnest I've had in a long time in
That's
a
definitely what you
game.
love to hear, right?
Yeah, like,
Yes.
I wish it was multiplayer, but I'm like, I would sit here on a bad day and play that. Like, easy to clear around, easy to just be like, "Okay, now I can focus back on my work." Like, I don't
And it's
know.
on mobile too, so I mean, you can do it on your phone.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so now we have mobile, we're on Steam, which getting games on Steam isn't as easy as people just think it is. It's just not. Like, it's easier to get games on Epic than it is on Steam, and
Yeah,
so congratulations on that success. Good luck tomorrow on the Mint. I'll be first in line. I can't wait to see what I get. Congratulations on the Magic Eden. And we're really excited to see what Spicy brings us, because, I mean, if you guys were working with them, they've got to be amazing. So let Chris know I said hi. And, thanks for giving us the opportunity to come and kind of like interview a little bit and explain the game to us. And yeah, just vibe with us
anytime.
after hours.
I want to do it again. I mean, like I
Yeah.
said, that one of the things I'm really excited about is to transition back into kind of being more of a community member.
Yeah.
I get this big gig tomorrow, and we have this mint. It's like perfect little kind of like closing of one chapter, starting of another.
Exactly.
I've enjoyed working in Web3 for the last couple of years. It's kind of fun. I didn't pretend to work in Web3. I've been really bad at being unemployed. I just managed to just work for myself all the time. But no, so I'm excited to like kind of transition back into a
Yeah.
community member and get back
Yeah.
to being able to have fun and play and not worried about making income or having uh it's just kind of turn it
A
back into
routine. Am I
yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely, yeah. So
Outside of Web3. But I fully understand that. Me and Lulu just went through this. We had to do a lot of soul searching to figure out what the fuck. Okay. But we
Yeah.
did. And we totally understand. Once you've kind of like grounded yourself and you're like, okay, I can't change what has happened, but I can change what happens next. Like, that's the beauty of being, I was gonna say an adult, but a human, because there's a lot of adults here that don't adult very well. So, you know, um,
Yeah.
you just find out what's important and you go from there. But
I
I
do that.
gotta go get my own. Speaking of kids and like family in my head, I gotta go get my own kids to bed. But again, one third nerd, thank you so much. Lulana, thank you for joining us as well. And we hope everybody here has a good day, good evening. Check out Spicy Dev Studio on Twitter and look into their mint that's happening tomorrow. This is not a sponsored space, just spaces with friends. We're vibing. So everybody have a good day, good night, good morning, wherever you are in the world, and we'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. See you
Bye.
guys later.
Very
Hi.
nice to meet you.